That's why, you know what the #1 job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job.
Lord, I cracked you up.
I'm saying Lauren introduced me to Puff.
Oh, got you.
I mean, I knew Puff, but it was more of a personal relationship after, we was at Cassie's birthday.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like Nip came to me and said, I want you to mentor me, I want to get into real estate, I want you to teach me all your, like your business secrets, you know what I'm saying? I was like, whenever you got questions, pull up. And then on his last album, people do not know this. Somebody tried to jerk me, but I fixed it. I actually am one of the executive producers of Nipsey Hussle's last album.
Victory Lap.
Yeah, Victory Lap.
Katt Williams is back in the spotlight, clearly not done shedding a light on the hidden turmoil within the entertainment world. Sources suggest he has deep knowledge about the true link between Diddy and Nipsey Hussle. While Diddy's legal battles are still unfolding, one thing is becoming clear. Some of the long-standing theories, especially around Nipsey's fate, are finally starting to make sense. The real mystery is, what kind of operation was Diddy involved in that brought Nipsey into the mix? And what exact role does Katt Williams play in this tangled situation? If you've been following the story closely, you might have noticed Lauren London's name popping up in connection to the federal probe into Diddy. People are beginning to wonder what her involvement might be and why she's now being mentioned in the middle of this storm. What's particularly notable is that Lauren allegedly had knowledge of Diddy's controversial actions for quite some time. She reportedly knew about his treatment of Cassie and was aware of the rumors surrounding his lifestyle. In fact, some unconfirmed reports suggest that Lauren may have once had ties with Diddy, similar to Young Miami. With all that in mind, it's quite shocking that she still introduced Nipsey to him.
To Diddy.
Hook up with the biggest rapper at the time. Everything's great. By the way, isn't she? Lauren is the one that introduced Nip. Diddy. Diddy couldn't even get to Nip, even though he had ties in LA. It was Lauren that brought Nip to him.
And this isn't just some rumor. Nipsey himself actually acknowledged it. If you remember his interview on The Breakfast Club, he openly mentioned, "It was Lauren who connected me with Puff."
I'm saying Lauren introduced me to Puff.
Oh, got you.
I mean, I knew Puff, but it was more of a personal relationship after, we was at Cassie's birthday.
In the streets and among his loyal followers, there's a growing sense that Lauren may have played a bigger role than just being a supportive partner. Some believe she was more directly involved, possibly even placed to monitor Nipsey's actions, acting as Diddy's inside source, making sure Nipsey stayed on a certain path. But it doesn't stop there. The connection between Diddy and Nipsey didn't end with just an introduction. In one interview, Diddy himself admitted that Nipsey was eager to learn from him about the business world, strategy, and how to maneuver within the industry. That statement alone raises serious questions, and it's worth digging deeper into what that might really imply.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like Nip came to me and said, I want you to mentor me, I want to get into real estate, I want you to teach me all your, like your business secrets, you know what I'm saying? I was like, whenever you got questions, pull up. And then on his last album, people do not know this. Somebody tried to jerk me, but I fixed it. I actually am one of the executive producers of Nipsey Hussle's last album.
Victory Lap.
Yeah, Victory Lap.
Now, after Nipsey's heartbreaking death, people are taking a fresh look at those past connections, wondering whether Diddy's influence may have caused more damage than benefit. And things have only become more tangled, with Katt Williams stepping into the mix, and he's not holding back. Katt claims that many artists who worked with Diddy ended up facing serious consequences. Just look at the names linked to him: Cassie, Meek Mill, YK Osiris, French Montana, Craig Mack, Danity Kane. Each has faced struggles that raise red flags. more and more people are questioning whether Diddy's guidance was ever truly in their best interest. Now that old footage of Diddy and Nipsey is circulating again, many are starting to...
What y'all doing? Lauren! Cassandra! What are you doing? Want some blue dot?
In one recently resurfaced video, Diddy appears to fixate on Nipsey, licking his lips and watching him closely, almost as if he's admiring him, while Nipsey, unaware, simply enjoys the studio vibe. That clip has reignited discussions online. And when you recall Katt Williams saying he rejected a $50 million offer, not once, but 4 different times, to hold on to his self-respect, it really makes you wonder what was actually happening behind closed doors. Katt also shared that Diddy once tried to pull him into something questionable, but he refused to take part.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did.
Terrence Howard also spoke out about having a similar encounter. He said it all started off as a seemingly professional connection with Diddy, but things took a different turn rather quickly. Realizing where the situation was headed, Terrence chose to distance himself before it could go any further.
Next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at it, like waiting. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to f you. That's what my assistant said. I was like, oh, now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you notice to be hands-off with somebody. A number of producers coming to make the approach, and you punch them in the mouth, threaten to knock their head off for talking to you like, or looking at you like you're a woman. You know, when you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're gonna get a real reaction. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room.
Now more and more people are starting to connect the dots, suggesting that Diddy may have made advances toward Nipsey. And when Nipsey didn't respond the way Diddy would have expected, it may have created underlying tension. As for Lauren and Diddy, the internet lit up after some old photos resurfaced, showing Lauren and Diddy appearing unusually close, with Nipsey visible in the background, almost as if he were on the sidelines in his own relationship. After Nipsey's passing, Lauren sat down for an interview with Angie Martinez, and that's where things shifted from suspicious to downright puzzling. She mentioned that Diddy had been a major source of emotional support for her during her grieving period. On the surface, that sounds fair. But then came a surprising detail. Diddy reportedly told her, "Look, boo, you've already shown the world what it means to stand beside a man and love him. Now it's your job to show them how to survive when everything falls apart." What really caught people's attention was his use of the word boo, a term Nipsey himself used for her. That raised serious questions. Why would Diddy use such an intimate nickname unless there was more to their connection than anyone realized? At the same time, Nipsey was forging his own path, choosing independence and staying away from the typical industry games. But Lauren had influence. She had access to people in high places. And after she introduced Nipsey to Diddy, things began to change. Former Bad Boy associate Gene Deal later spoke out, warning about the dangers tied to certain ambitions in the music world. He recalled a moment when Nipsey told him that he wanted his next album to carry the same energy as Biggie's Life After Death. Think about that for a second. Life After Death dropped right after Biggie was killed.
Now, you taking a spiritual person who's asking for something. He said, I wanted that same feel as life after death. That same feel was that Biggie got and he went on to sell about 10 million albums or 10 million copies. I was saying, you gotta watch what you say to demons, because it just might come true.
According to Gene Deal, that one comment may have been a serious misstep on Nipsey's part. After Diddy entered the picture, things began to shift quickly. Nipsey started spending more time at Diddy's mansion than in the studio, and that's when people began noticing something was off. Diddy's influence seemed to grow stronger, and Nipsey no longer looked like the same man. He seemed tired, under pressure, and disconnected from his usual grounded self. Fans noticed the change. Some believe it came down to control, because Diddy couldn't easily sway someone like Nipsey. He was sharp, self-made, and not the type to be manipulated. Nipsey was respected for being real, a product of the streets who refused to bend to Hollywood's demands. And there's speculation that Diddy may have been quietly eyeing Lauren, possibly seeing her as someone to pursue once Nipsey was out of the way. But let's be honest, Diddy doesn't exactly have a glowing history when it comes to treating women with true care. Take his relationship with Cassie, for instance. She spent years in what many describe as a controlling situation. People have long raised concerns about how she was treated. And then there's Kim Porter, the mother of his children, whose tragic passing came after what some insiders say were years of emotional and mental strain, allegedly tied to Diddy's manipulative behavior. So when people claim Diddy was simply drawn to Lauren out of admiration or love, not everyone is convinced. To many, this doesn't feel like affection, it feels like another attempt at dominance. Diddy has also been accused of turning personal loss into public branding. After Biggie's death, he dropped a heartfelt tribute that won major awards, then launched his solo career, using that moment of mourning to elevate his image. When Kim Porter passed, he publicly portrayed himself as a heartbroken spiritual father, despite whispers about what was really going on behind the scenes. And after Nipsey died, Diddy was quick to post about Lauren, sharing emotional messages about healing and legacy, even though many questioned his actual connection to their story. There seems to be a pattern. Every time someone influential dies, Diddy somehow becomes part of the spotlight. That raises the question, was he setting himself up for another legacy moment in the wake of Nipsey's passing? Some believe Diddy saw Nipsey as a figure he could align with to elevate his personal brand, one more story to attach himself to. But let's not forget, someone had to open that door. And more people are starting to question Lauren's role in giving Diddy access to Nipsey in the first place. As for Katt Williams, he saw it all coming, long before it made headlines, long before the lawsuits, and long before the public began to notice. Katt understood that Diddy's game wasn't just about parties or shady contracts. It ran deeper, into a world of manipulation, control, and blackmail.
It's all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. All lies will be exposed. So if you and a man was in a corner doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing,
you will tell it.
I know so many things I shouldn't know. When I walk in a room, heads go down.
As expected, the internet has exploded with opinions. One commenter didn't mince words, claiming that Diddy deliberately placed Lauren in Nipsey's life. They highlighted how she publicly expressed gratitude to Puff at Nipsey's memorial, suggesting that once you begin connecting the dots, a larger narrative starts to unfold. Another commenter took it even further, accusing Diddy of doing something similar with Biggie. They alleged that Diddy not only featured heavily on Biggie's album, but may have orchestrated his death in order to control the rights and long-term profits that followed. With growing conversations about Diddy's alleged patterns of control and manipulation, people are now questioning whether Lauren might eventually come forward. Was she unknowingly pulled into something deeper, or was she knowingly involved in a broader scheme? And the most pressing question remains: did Diddy have any involvement in what ultimately happened to Nipsey? Let us know what you think in the comments below, because this conversation is far from over. And if you're here for truth without filters and bold breakdowns, be sure to like, subscribe, and tap into the next video now playing on your screen.